out. Okay, stream is up. Let's see if that link gets you to the right place. People, does it work?
Are we on the YouTube?
We're on the YouTube. Just trying to make sure the link's in the right spot. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like. I'm Guy. That's John.
We are live. Can we see the YouTube comments? I can bring it up.
Yeah, there we go. It is live. Yeah, I'm just going to watch the stream.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, there you go. You can just pull it up. I'm looking at it right next to mine. You got the comments there? Is that Carr? No, that is that's Matthew Stafford. We're just here to talk about Matthew Stafford because quarterbacks are good for business. Cheers to you, quarterbacks.
What do you think of Mac Jones today? Did you watch Senior Bowl?
I saw a bunch of Demetric Felton clips. I think he was one of the hot. He was one of the guys that performed well today.
Is he a Pac-12 guy?
Yeah, he played running back at UCLA, kind of a smaller, can run routes type guy. I don't know why a couple of his clips popped up in my YouTube feed.
I saw. Twitter feed. I saw Lewis Instagrammed a picture of him. I think ESPN. I haven't even had the TV on today. Just too busy working here. Lewis.
We've been in meetings.
Yeah, ESPN had on the field, and his caption was like, "On the field, where I belong." I was like, Lewis. I mean, you can't be any cheesier in your captions. Love you, but Jesus, it was funny. And then I realized, there must be on TV. And then I saw people saying like, Todd McShay says Guy Haberman from Weber State is the biggest riser in practice number 3. You know, it's always that. Like, the biggest riser in practice number 7 was Middlecoff. The biggest faller was Billy James from LSU. Back to you, Mel.
My favorite one was maybe it was Tuesday. Daniel Jeremiah tweeted something like, the offensive linemen always get killed, but I'm going to defend them. And I'm like, I was watching and thinking, like, nobody who's killing the offensive lineman. I mean, DJ's circle, like DJ, like real people there, right? But
he's right. Because
one guy gets beat, it becomes a blow-up.
You get on these one-on-one situations.
Well, I know, but my point is like 99% of people tuned into the Senior Bowl are not watching for the offensive lineman.
Yeah, I don't. But is he talking about the fans or is he talking about the personnel? People be like, "Oh my God, did you see James Williams
I assumed he was talking about the fans.
The
You're saying he's talking about the personnel people?
Yeah, I think that we just naturally, it's where everyone huddles. It's a training camp or in an all-star game. You go to one-on-ones, O-line, D-line. It's better than like wide receivers, DBs, because I can watch that on tape. I want to see the guys getting after it. And you're like, "Oh my God, that center just got housed," or "Oh my God, that defensive end got crushed." It's not normal. Like that, even though you're kind of on
I would say
island,
the same thing about the corners. It's not normal.
No, you got help. And there's other guys, like, he just runs this crazy long crossing route, and the corner, like, can't keep up. So, yeah, there wasn't linebackers or any riffraff in the middle of the field. It's just, like, me and green grass. But in fairness, like that, like, you see how many catches that guy had in one-on-ones? It's just, I mean, it's Brett Veach is saying. It's just human nature. Because if you make plays, I remember, I'll never forget the dude from Boise. I think Kyle Wilson. Is that his name?
That the Jets took? Yeah, the Jets.
Yeah, he's like a hybrid corner nickel. Went to the Senior Bowl, dominated. Ended up going in the first round. Was terrible.
Not a good
But it was just one-on-ones. You're just locking dudes down. Aaron Donald, that's a good example of a guy that was just crushing people at the Senior Bowl. And people were like, he's pretty good. And then turns out he's pretty good. Stafford didn't go to the Senior Bowl, though. Let's talk some quarterbacks. Stafford of the Niners.
This was yesterday. Schefter said teams are already reaching out to the Detroit Lions to initiate trade talks and figure out what it would take to acquire Matthew. Sorry. He doesn't like Matt. He likes Matthew.
Is that a serious thing?
Yeah.
You read?
I heard Clayton Kershaw was on a podcast I listened to a few months ago, and they asked
Did you know they were high school teammates and played baseball together when they were 16?
I did, but apparently they haven't talked in a while. They're not like, I mean, they're cool, but they don't like text every day now. But one thing, someone called him Matt Stafford. He's like, well, it's actually Matthew. It's like, oh, kind of like Mitchell. Quarterback thing. So
Pat, maybe likes to be Patrick, his mom says.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't know me.
Yeah. Hey, what up, Patty?
And then what's today? Wednesday, and then Grant Cohn, everybody's Niners reporter Grant Cohn, said source Niners have inside edge to trade for Matthew Stafford. A source extremely close to the situation says the Niners are favorites to land Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford. And then our friends over at my bookie right now have Stafford Niners third longest odds at plus 400. Colts as the favorites, the Patriots, the Broncos, WFT, the Rams. So there you go. There's the latest news. I mean, what's the timeline you think here?
You remember we were playing Presidio,
Golf
and news broke.
Uh-huh.
I think when we were like a couple holes in, that George Kittle was officially going to sign for however many dollars, and it was Grant Cohn had broke.
We were with somebody who works for the Niners. Remember?
Yeah, and our other buddy Bobby, who was getting after it, and
Bobby
at that golf
always
course,
arrives at the tee box 1 minute before tee time, and then remembers he needs to order 2 beers and breakfast. Yeah, Bobby.
And when that Kittle story broke, a couple days later, it was official. George Kittle was not like no one thought he was going to go anywhere, but was a Niner. And I've had this theory for a long time. I can't give away all my theory on here, but Grant's pretty plugged in. I think Grant's got a major mole on the inside. I have nothing but respect.
We call it a source in the journalism game, John.
Yeah, nothing but I think that Grant Cohn has one of the main mole/sources in the building. I think he knows what he's talking about. Now, here's where I'll push back. January 27th, I think it would be hard to know you're the clear leader or not the clear leader. I mean, there is just typically the combine happens at the end of the next month. That's not going to take place, but nothing can become official till March 15th or 16th or whenever, that little moratorium period always starts for the NFL, that 3-day period that then stories start leaking on guys. What would be the Lions' rush? Now, maybe they just know right away. The Niners go, listen, we'll give you a quarterback, Jimmy, so you can just have a quarterback, and we'll give you the 12th pick. And that's just off the top better than they know that anyone else is going to offer with the picks in the 20s. And maybe it gets more complicated where I just think there's just a bidding process. You would never – it would take when time is on your side, what do they say? Deadlines create deals. It's always something I think like Andrew Brandt says on Twitter. And it's right? We see a lot of guys get franchise tag. Deadline is always a great time of year, right, when guys sign right at the moment. Trying to think in other situations. It happens a lot with the franchise tag guys for sure. And that's usually in the summer. It's like right till the deadline, the dude signs. And like 3 of them sign that day. With trades, I think sometimes we know maybe early March, but there's a month of due diligence and calls and going through the scenarios that I think you do. So it would be hard to maybe the Niners feel they're in the lead and someone told them that. I believe that. I just don't see how it's possible that they know for sure. Because if you're the Lions, that would be bad business if you already know.
Well, but here, can I throw a theory at you? Since we love throwing theories, listen to you throw that theory out. The Niners did kind of have a mole on the Lions 2 weeks ago, in the potential for one, when Robert Saleh interviewed with Detroit. Now, did Robert Saleh tell Kyle Shanahan how that interview went? Did he tell
I'm sure
John Lynch how that interview went? Did he tell them some of the details discussed in that interview, right? And the details discussed in that interview might have been, we are going to trade Matthew Stafford. That's part of our plan. We'd like you to keep that information to yourself. If that information gets out and is tracked back to you, you will no longer be considered for this position. But we are going to trade Matthew Stafford, and we are going to try and make it a place that Matthew wants to go. And if Robert Saleh picks up the phone and says, Kyle, Lions, they did say are going to trade Matthew, and the destination is going to be partly controlled by Matthew, i.e. he's not going to Carolina, then I could understand how somebody in the Niners organization would say, we've got the best pick to offer among teams that are places that Matthew Stafford would want to go. So we feel like we do have, I don't know if the upper hand, what was the word Grant used? The inside edge Okay, see, like to me, a close.
Yes,
a source,
good verbiage.
inside edge, not black edge. Not
Did-
black
well,
edge. That's what
did
Axe
you?
would
Well,
use.
I mean,
That's insider trading.
Well, Axe would.
But this would be.
What Axe
This
would
would
do
be
is he'd
black
find
edge.
every single one of the IP addresses from all the little kids on Reddit, and he'd go one by one, and he'd light their homes on fire.
Every
One
$12
by
it
one.
went up. Every $12 cost the hedge fund $1 billion.
Well, I saw a tweet today, and the thing went up 300%. The hedge fund is going to go under tomorrow. It's done. Like it's over. Like they're $12
They had to
billion
borrow
in
$3
losses.
billion this morning.
Yeah, they're getting destroyed. So I don't quite understand exactly what's happening. I just know it's, props to Reddit and just the blogger boys. Because it doesn't feel like a win for the blogger boys.
Yeah, even though I'm sure most of the I'm sure most of the Reddit guys are traders anyway. But yeah, good for.
Well, yeah, because it's like, how do you have all this money to buy all the inventory, like to make it move, right?
Well, I think it's volume.
It's not.
First of all.
Oh, you're just saying if 1 million people are on Reddit and everyone pitches in $10,000, it's just a lot of money.
I don't even think I doubt. I don't know. I'd be interested. I haven't dug that deep. I don't even think it was $10,000 worth of buying. I thought it was just a high volume. Just starts going up a little bit because the price is so low. Now you're short position, John. But look, we spent all our time thinking about quarterbacks. So
yeah, did you see the dude that originally
squeeze?
reported
Thank you,
that Stafford was out? The guy from Detroit, I think he's like a radio host, reported that like Stafford is going to be traded or whatever a couple weeks ago. And a lot of people were like, is this guy credible? Is this guy credible? Today, I saw a tweet from him that listed Stafford's top 5 destinations, and the Niners were number 1.
What's that guy's name? Anybody know?
I had no clue. I just saw his tweet. But the inside edge, their inside edge would be if Matt Stafford wants to play
Here's
there.
the other thing. Their inside edge might be they've talked to his agent, and they know he wants to be a 49er.
Yeah.
Tom Condon.
Did you read? Well, did you read somewhere that the Detroit told people to be quiet?
Because you told me that. Because someone just asked, why would the Lions tell people? Kevin, thank you for that question. You told me that I thought you told me that Detroit was telling people.
Yeah, telling people that Matt Stafford wanted to be traded.
Sorry, telling candidates.
Yeah, would it behoove them to tell when they told them to tell them not to tell anybody, or wouldn't they just want it out there?
Well, it didn't get out until after the coach got hired. Dan Campbell got hired, and then it became like we were talking about they should trade Stafford, but the Lions didn't say it until then.
What I wonder, even if they didn't say like this is proprietary information, don't tell anyone. Just if you're a candidate, you don't want to be blabbing, right? So it behooves you to keep your mouth shut. Even though, wouldn't you imagine that after 3 or 4 candidates interview from just the different teams and go back to, I don't know, their bosses that they know they might work for? If your boss is like Sean Payton or Kyle Shanahan, that's your boy. Like that, I bet that information spread like NFL wildfire fast as fuck after like 3 guys interview. Because all it would take is 2 guys knowing. They tell guys, agents, boom, 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 boom. But it's just no one's like Schefter, Rap Sheet. No, you just can't say anything until we give you the go ahead. But it's out.
Dan
Because I
Cilio.
can't imagine everyone being quiet.
Yeah. But how do you keep it from becoming a story once all those guys have told 8 other people?
That's a great question. I don't. Maybe they did tell people not to tell anybody.
Dan Cilio, national radio host. I had Frank Reich on the show last Friday. By all accounts, talking to folks at the Colts. Matthew Stafford and the team are heading towards signing a contract after the Super Bowl. And, of course, it would be via trade. Just for the record, I said over the weekend when we broke this story. Then he said after that, if I were Niners fans, I would not give. Okay, so he tweeted. Okay, here we go. Sorry. So this is what he said. Let me put this here for everybody to see, John. And we can read it because there's a lot of hashtags and ats and a lot going on. So I had Colts head coach Frank Reich on the show last Friday, and by all accounts today, talking to folks at the Colts, Matthew Stafford and the team are heading towards signing a contract after the Super Bowl. So that sounds like bad news for the Niners. But then he says, if I were at Niners fans, I would not give up on Matthew Stafford. John Lynch gets deals done. They are also talking, basically this comes down to recruiting.
Here's what Rap Sheet tweeted earlier today. Maybe he didn't tweet this, maybe he said it on air. About a third of the NFL has reached out to the Detroit Lions about a Matthew Stafford trade. Now, my guess would be there are a handful of GMs that just immediately, and I worked for one once upon a time, you always make a phone call. A deal doesn't go down with you not calling, what's up, right? And so a third of the league would be basically 10 teams. I bet 5 or 6 are like legitimately viable. And the group that we're thinking about, right? Washington, the Niners, the Colts, Belichick, maybe like a sleeper, like a Giants or something in there, right? Like a team that you don't think, but like once you say it out loud, because I think Denver is kind of that team. You're like, I'd have to say the Giants with Daniel Jones and Joe Judge. If Belichick's interested, why wouldn't they be interested? Maybe that's like that. There's a team like that. Like the Rams, you can be like, oh, I bet they've called. Like, what? You want to trade us straight up, Jared Goff?
Well, yeah, that's who would take.
Yeah. But we don't have any picks. Now, they could always do like ones in the future, and then they just never have any ones forever.
Goff was their last first rounder.
What I'll be interested in is, does he get 2 first-round picks? Because if they do, then my gut would say the Niners are out. And one thing I've been thinking about, Guy, would you rather spend like a first and a second for Stafford? Risk. He's a little older. He's injured. He might need a new contract or want new money. He's already rich. I mean, he's just used to getting a lot of money. Or be able to get like Sam Darnold for a third. There is a chance when we look back like 4 or 5 years that the price you pay for Sam Darnold and the price you pay for Matt Stafford, if it doesn't quite work out, and if Sam goes to the right team, like let's say he ends up in the Niners or the Saints or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's just a really good quarterback for 3 or 4 years, given that the price you had to pay to acquire him was probably dramatically lower. I mean, it will be dramatically lower in Stafford.
Yeah,
that's something to keep an eye on. It's risky. They're both risky.
But to me, do you agree with my concern? My risk on Stafford is that by modern quarterback age, he's not that old. He missed half of last year, 2019, with a back injury. And again, just reading some of the local, you start reading local reporters, like you just get great context. Reading one of the articles in The Athletic from one of the Detroit Lions with their Detroit Lions reporter, it was the basic gist of the comment was his back held up this year, which I don't, to me, when you say somebody's back held up, what you're saying is it's never 100%. It's just a matter of, can you play with it or not? So that's the risk. I mean, at this point, he's clearly the better player. Now, I think here's the other question. It's like, is Sam Darnold a better prospect than what you could do at 12? Like, do you like Sam Darnold if you're Kyle Shanahan as a prospect better than Trey Lance? I mean, maybe you have to get to 8, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Is he a better prospect than whoever you get? Because I would say this, and you and I talked about this on the podcast today. Go check out this full conversation, and it's actually a YouTube video too. But it's like the battle for the QB2. Every guy has a major question. Trey Lance played 1 game this year. Zach Wilson played mostly nobody. He played a bunch of games, but it wasn't against the greatest competition. Not normal for what BYU plays. And Justin Fields didn't play a lot of games, but he did play in the national. And then, he's on the other end of the spectrum. He did play in the national championship game. And there still are a lot of questions about him. Like, maybe you don't think as highly as Sam Darnold, but you might have a more fully formed opinion of him, right? It would not be crazy to think he can't. Maybe his ceiling is not what maybe Trey Lance's is, but I think I can make him a B plus quarterback.
They would get
third round pick. That's good.
They would get destroyed if they traded pick 12 for Matt Stafford. Or I mean for Sam Darnold.
No. I'm just saying the value of if you're telling me Kyle Shanahan thinks Sam Darnold can be a B.
You're
B
saying use
B plus.
So let's say it's 2 threes. 2 threes for Sam Darnold, and I think he's at best equal the guy taking 12. Why just use 12 on a player?
Yeah, and maybe you think, God, the ceiling on the draftable quarterback at 8 is so much higher, I think, but I don't know what his floor is, and I think you're right, and I think Darnold's floor is a B minus quarterback. And that's just good enough because I don't love any of these other guys I'm going to have to move up to get. That logic I
agree.
I can follow.
I think that's being discussed right now. And I think Matt Stafford is viewed a little bit like a draft prospect for an NFL player. All this talent, all this ability, but it's like playing on the shitty team if I get him, right? You just like, oh, Justin Fields. People that like Justin Fields will go, if I had this guy in my system, he would look, I could Josh Allen meets Kyler Murray, or like that's how these guys think. They look at Ryan Day going like, I don't even know what the hell he's doing. I mean, we just know the way these coaches talk. And I think there's going to be a lot of that with Sam Darnold, who Robert Saleh refuses to kind of say he's our starting quarterback. So I do think in a weird way, Sam Darnold is going to be viewed as like second fiddle in this whole thing, assuming he gets traded and Matt Stafford gets traded. But they're like 3 or 4 years down the line, the team that has Sam Darnold might go, oh, we got this guy in his mid to late 20s. We're going to have him for the next 7-8 years. We're making the playoffs with him, where Matt Stafford's getting older. Maybe his back's still injured. Maybe it turns out it was a little more hype on his ability than once you actually put him in a situation where he had to win, it wasn't as good. I like Matt Stafford. My friends in the league really think highly of Matt Stafford. But let's not act like there's major risk to this, proposition and trade. Like when you trade 2 first-rounders for Jalen Ramsey, or you traded 2 first-rounders for Khalil Mack, like you were getting a plug-and-play star, right? Now their level of impacting winning when you're a corner, like they can only do so much. But all those teams feel good about all the Jamal Adams, like they feel good about their moves. Or when you trade the first for Diggs, like they're coming in. Right. There is just with
you might
the
have
quarterback
overpaid,
position,
but you got an elite player.
Yeah, it's like Stafford is a really talented player, but like, is it gonna fit the scheme? Is he gonna be comfortable right away? Like the pressure immediately if he goes to the Niners, the Saints, or the Colts, like it's not cool to just like, oh, went 8-8. He threw 12 interceptions and 3 in that pivotal game down the stretch. Like that's a disaster, right?
Yeah, the only
the pressure on whoever acquires Stafford would be high.
Say that again.
The pressure on whoever trades for Stafford, just the coach, that organization, and Matt, the player, would just be higher than any other transaction that's probably going to go down this offseason in terms of, trades. Like whoever gets Sam Darnold, it'll be like, even if, let's say, Sean Payton traded for Sam Darnold, like 2 threes. It'd be more like, God, can he really save this guy? Can he get him going? But it wouldn't, if Sam Darnold's just okay, it's like, well, I understand why he tried. It just turned out Sam Darnold wasn't that good. But if I put Matt Stafford on the Saints, I'd say anything less than like 11 or 12 wins would be a devastating disappointment. They'd be disappointed to win like 9 with Sam Darnold, but I do think you'd be more open-minded to what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me they won 9 games with if you told
12.
me they win 9 games with Sam Darnold, my question is, so is he not better than Jimmy Garoppolo?
You talking the Saints or the Niners?
I'm talking the 49ers.
But if you win 9 games, you're probably in the playoffs. The Niners would have given their left nut to win 9 games this year.
Yeah, no question. But the Niners were in the Super Bowl in 2019 or 2020. Doesn't guarantee anything in the future. It doesn't mean in perpetuity you must win the Super Bowl or it's a complete failure. But like getting to the playoffs now is Washington football team was in the playoffs this year. Like the goal is, can Sam Darnold, can you win a championship with him? With your defense not being as good as it was in 2019, 2020? No, not if you're a 9-win team.
We need your quarterback to be more of a playmaker.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you win 9 football games with him,
your defense might not be as good and your offense actually could be better.
Yeah, it might not be. But I just watched the 49ers this year with nowhere near the level of Jimmy Garoppolo's best at quarterback, just 2019 Jimmy. And I watched them and thought just a serviceable quarterback could get them to 10 wins. 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean 9, 10. That
they feel so different though.
Yeah, but guy, 9 wins, you could have rested your starters on week 17 this year.
Yeah, I mean, how many 9-win teams? The Giants, when they beat the Patriots, win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm adding. You're getting the 7th seed. I think moving forward, for the most part, I guess the AFC you had to have 11 this year, but the NFC, an 8-8 team. Now that might be a little bit of an outlier, but I do think with the 7th seed, it's pretty clear. You get to 9 most years, you're going to have a very, very good chance. Remember going into this season, what did we say? Well, the Rams had missed the playoffs the year before, but 9-7, they would have been in that format. So if the format had been 2 years old instead of 1 year old, the Rams would have made the playoffs every year under Sean McVay. So as much as like they hate Jared Goff, that's what's kind of crazy about their operation. Like they hate their quarterback. They are making the playoffs. And hell, they won a game.
That would make you so angry if you realize you look at what we're doing with a quarterback we don't want. We could be in the Super Bowl if we had a guy that we loved.
The problem with Stafford, this is what Al says, is you still have to draft a quarterback. I don't think that's true. I mean, he's 32 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
to me, if you're acquiring Stafford,
in the 5th round.
Yeah, to me, if whoever trades for Stafford, they're putting all their chips in the middle of the table on that guy being able to lead them to the playoffs next year and for the foreseeable future. And ideally, like you wouldn't mind giving a contract extension, right? Like you want that guy to be your quarterback for like a 5-year stretch and then figure it out from there. Yeah. But like 32 to 38, like you think you can get a couple Pro Bowls, playing playoff games, give yourself a chance at the dance.
Kevin says Fitzmagic can get the 49ers to the playoffs.
Fitzmagic?
Fitzmagic. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Do you think if Fitzmagic was the Niners quarterback all year long, they would have made the playoffs?
Yeah.
Definitely would have been closer.
I saw what he did to the Niners.
Yeah.
But that's not a real solution.
No. Could we get Stafford for next year's first rounder and this year's second round pick? I'd say that'd be a big no.
Not if you have a first rounder this year. They want that because they'll just assume you're going to be better next year.
I'd imagine that they have 5 first rounders on the table this year, right? Just look at the 20s.
Marcellus, Stafford is a health risk. He is. That's fair. That's what concerns me.
Well, here's where the Niners are screwed a little bit. Like, what if Stafford doesn't want to go to the Patriots? Patricia's there. And the Niners don't want to give up pick 12. Like, they want to do something like, we'll give you our second or third in next year's one. Or, kind of get tricky with it. Because, what they would do is go from 12 to like 20, get the extra second back, and just be like, oh, we'd have all of our picks no matter what. What if Belichick goes, okay, well, I'll give you 15 or whatever they are. Are they 15? I think you said that the other day, 15 or 14.
I'll tell you.
So, but what if Stafford doesn't want to go there? This is where it could get a little NBA-y. Like, I don't want to play there. And in fairness to Stafford, I don't know if I'd want to go to the Patriots. Like, the Patriots lost a little shine. No offensive playmakers. Right? It's not even necessarily anti-Belichick. It's more just that roster stinks. Well, like, Bill, I know you're good, but your team sucks.
Yeah, I mean, what if I just told you this? Tom Brady played for a team that didn't want Tom Brady back. Do you want to be on that team? Bill Belichick was like, I don't want Brady.
But Brady didn't want to be there either.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying Tom Brady was on a team. Now he's not on that team anymore for a variety of reasons. Mutual, okay. But I'd be a little alarmed to go play for the team that didn't want Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think this is
on a basic level. I go, wait a second, why is Tom Brady not here still? What happened to the last guy? Can I talk to the guy that held this position before and see what he thinks?
Because he's had enough of everybody. He wanted out.
I mean, they don't have anybody that looks like Brandon Ayuk. They don't have anybody that, like they're just not as complete as the Niners or the Colts for that matter right now.
No. I think the Colts, I think T.Y. is a free agent, but Pittman's going to be a baller. Jonathan Taylor was a baller the second half of the year. Their offensive line is stacked. Their defense is good. Unlike Saleh, Eberflus, keeping a job, not getting like a head coaching job. You could argue
all-time accidental hire, by the way.
Yeah. Are they more equipped than the Niners? Like, if you're Stafford, should you want to go there? AFC's a little harder.
Yeah, I mean, it feels closer to you. Just your life feels more, even though it's a different conference, it feels more similar to the kind of football you've been playing, right? It feels like his division. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think in the NFL you play so many teams, it's like it's all kind of one.
No, I'm just maybe it doesn't feel that way to him. I'm just saying, sitting on my couch, the AFC South and the NFC North feel similar to me.
This is going to be a big, if the move happens and Stafford's like, I wanted to go there the whole time, a big win for no one wants to play here because of the taxes. Because if I was him, and I don't know exactly what Michigan state income tax is, I'm pretty sure it's pretty high. That obviously California is this astronomical, the highest in the country. It is a pretty big, like, you're losing money just for playing here.
4.25. Michigan, not bad.
Not bad at all. So if you're making $30 million, there is a massive difference.
The good news for Kelly Stafford is the stay-at-home order has been lifted.
Well, not there.
No, here.
Right. But I meant in Santa Clara County, or maybe it was just high school sports. They're not allowed to play.
They've just transitioned. Like Stanford's going to start playing at home. But
gotcha.
I mean, I'm half kidding, but I'm not. I mean, it's just like, yeah, do they want to be in California? To me, that's a tax thing. That's just a light. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most people remember that whole thing what got
controversial
for them. Like that was not, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying it became an uncomfortable situation for their family.
Well, and it's way more controversial here. Like we got a governor that's not to be recalled. Like we are kind of in shambles. I've just seen a lot of people joking around about it, even though it's one of those like jokes that's kind of serious, like you're saying. So
yeah, I'm not making fun. I'm saying that was a real story for their family. Like whether you think she was right or they were right, whatever.
Oh yeah, people are freaking out.
Now that said, if you're him, you've made a ton of money. Now nobody wants to write a bigger check, but I do think you start thinking, how do I make my maybe you start thinking, how do I make my career whole? Maybe not everybody thinks that, but I watch Matthew Stafford play football, and I think that guy cares about playing football. Like, he cares. Now, you can go to Indy and also give yourself a great shot. So, it's hard to argue the Niners give him something the Colts don't. But
they could just give him a Zenny. They could just give him a Zenny advertising deal to make up the $5 million he's losing.
They got to find him something else, John. The Kittles already.
How did they get George Kittle for $30 million guaranteed? Well, if you drive around, I don't know, a 500-mile radius in Northern California, there isn't a billboard every 5 miles.
So this is an official sponsor of the Niners, and suddenly Kittle is the face of the product?
Genius.
Interesting.
It felt very Lacob with like Kevin Durant. Sometimes I think that story, Kevin Durant was just driving through San Francisco, and the story was like he just looked and he saw, oh, there's Pinterest. Hey, Rich, let's just walk into TaskRabbit. Like, okay, yeah. And then make an investment. Like, listen, I mean, it's a cool story, but no, I think you're a place there, and I give you credit for actually cutting the check or whatever and then making all the money, but the Warriors really utilize that with the crew, and it helped make those guys a shitload of money that they were already making a boatload. That, to me, is the Niners' move. You get them sponsorships, which clearly they're doing. Their version of the modern-day Eddie DeBartolo.
Just here, CEO of a major Fortune 500 company, let me introduce you to agent for a major player.
Do you remember that was always the thing with Tom? I've never been there, but like wherever the Foxborough Gillette Stadium was, there was like across the street a huge complex that Robert owned, and that's where TB12 was, and it was like, yeah, I mean, he's paying rent, he's like,
no, I didn't realize that was part of the deal.
Yeah, he got the biggest office part in the whole building. Like, yeah, that's a pretty good discount. Like, he's getting paid through that.
I'm just scrolling through some comments here.
Yeah, you can beat it by living outside of California, but I do think you get charged on the games,
when you
right?
Play here,
like if you play the Rams, even if you my residence is in Texas or Nevada.
I think visiting teams get. That's why it sucks to be the Cardinals, because you play just because you're division, you play 2 games a year in the state of California.
How sweet would it have been to be like DeAndre Hopkins and check your check when you got the Niners home game? I guess they didn't, but.
Oh,
yeah, they'd already
played the Niners.
Yeah.
It's a good theory.
You're like, oh, it's in Arizona, bitches.
Well, yeah. Who did the Niners host? Did they host the?
Well, they hosted like 3 games.
Yeah, what were the other games there? Who else?
A Washington football team.
So they skipped.
They hosted the Bills on Monday Night Football. Stephon Diggs is like, ooh, 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 ooh. I'd ask my agent, could you just give me a breakdown of what it was and what it would have been?
Yeah, just show me the dollars. Zach. Yeah, this is a podcast. Zach said, how could I forget the Bears were in the playoffs? That was the Nickelodeon game. I forgot on the podcast that the Bears were in the playoffs this year.
Oh, that was the Nickelodeon game.
How about getting taxed? You know the shitty part? Dan said 8 home games equal 8 California tax games. How about getting taxed for the preseason games?
Well, you don't get paid, really.
Yeah, but you're saying so your game check is smaller, your tax bill is smaller? You're not.
If you make $12 million, like if you're my right guard and I'm paying you $12 million, you get $12 million over 17 weeks. The preseason is like a stipend. Playoffs
So
are the
I'm
same
not taxed
thing.
on my annual income because it's a
Think about
weekly
this guy.
paycheck.
The playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady make the same as a practice squad player for the Super Bowl.
Now it's all about heart.
No, now my pushback, because I've heard players complain about this, you do make more. Like this is the month of January is where you make your retirement. Like you make from 40 to 70,
And
that's where you make bank.
And your endorsements.
Right. Yeah, when I mean retirement, I mean every dollar that you make once football ends. Like Joe Montana's with Guinness right now, not because of Week 14 in 1983, but because when they go Joe Montana 4 rings. He used to be able to be like the greatest quarterback of all time, 4-time Super Bowl champion. Now you're like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Hold on. There's one I want to go back to here. Guys, this is David. How heartbreaking will it be if we have to run it back with Jimmy next season?
Be pretty heartbreaking, but we've seen that before. It happens a lot with coaches, right? In college, we're like, we're finally going to be able to fire him. Yes. Who can we get? Urban Meyer. Forever it was like, can we get John Gruden? That I think a lot of programs were like, oh, thank God that didn't happen. And then the guy comes back like, oh my God, he's still our coach. It doesn't happen that often in the NFL with players because you kind of know who's coming back and who's not coming back for the most part, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, yeah. I mean, Washington with Kirk Cousins, they kept running it back. I don't know. I didn't have my finger on the pulse of the fan base. I don't know if they were tired of him or not, but
I think it was just such a disaster, remember, because like Bruce Allen was calling him Kirk. What's his name? Kirk Cousins?
His name
calling
is
him Kurt.
Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like this. They were such a weird spot. This just feels like, and I've heard this. I mean, I think they would like to leave. I mean, it's out there. They want Jimmy. They want to replace Jimmy. But they have an inside edge until someone offers a contract or a number or a pick, amount that you won't match. And then it turns out, well, Kyle doesn't really like Sam Darnold. And it's like, well, what else are you going to do? And all of a sudden, free agency, we're into the time when Belichick's buying all the free agents, like a month after free agency, and like Jimmy's still on the team. Then you got to start thinking to yourself, God, this kind of is what it is. Like if Jimmy's on the team mid-April, I mean, he's probably going to be the quarterback, right? They might draft a guy, but I guess they could always, if they did a massive trade up, and we talked about this on the podcast, trade him like that day or night if Belichick doesn't have a quarterback or Washington doesn't have a quarterback. I guess that's possible. That happened to Josh Rosen when they drafted Kyler. Didn't happen with Alex.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
No, I mean that's the situation to me that, right? Is Jimmy, if you're drafting a quarterback, does that mean Jimmy's gone? Now, as we talked about on the podcast, it doesn't. But go back and look at what Kyle Shanahan did with Robert Griffin III in his rookie year. Now, if you draft a quarterback in the third round, it probably means Jimmy's back. If you draft a quarterback in the first round, the plan might be, hey, I just saw what happened with Justin Herbert. I've done it with Robert Griffin III. We'll just move on from Jimmy. Save the money. We need the money.
Well, what about this?
And start a rookie.
James writes, what about Jimmy and Sam battle it out?
Yeah. But
you'd keep Jimmy if you traded for Sam Darnold?
No, I wouldn't. I would get rid of Jimmy and Sam Darnold would be my quarterback.
And just have a much cheaper starting quarterback.
Yeah, have a much cheaper starting quarterback, and
I
don't know. We'll figure out how high. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But I'm betting on to me that is just okay. Kyle Shanahan, this is you now. This is you. Sam Darnold has had a bad situation. You scouted him coming out of college. You scouted that class.
If you couldn't get anything of much value, let's say the best you could get was like a 5th round pick, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. When the draft's going on and you acquire Trey Lance, let's say the Niners trade up to like 5 or 6. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, whoever. They don't have to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. They could roll it back. Even though I think we've kind of seen Joe Burrow, even I guess Tua is a bad example, but he wasn't healthy. He might not be good. But Justin Herbert, most of the quarterbacks I'd say over the last 5-6 years, Jameis, Mariota, Goff, Wentz. Remember Dak was a mid-round pick, played right away. I do think it's kind of proven you can just play the rookie.
Especially with Shanahan. This is his expertise. Now, I know the playbook's hard to learn and the plays are long and all that, but...
Because the one thing that you'd be doing right away you drafted Justin Fields, let's say.
Yeah.
You couldn't just have a normal meeting room with like Justin sitting there with Jimmy. Like, what's Jimmy supposed to think? Like, I'm 29. I'm the long-term answer. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's just easy to start with Justin, right? Just build it around him, and maybe then you got to pivot to go get like Fitz.
If you're Fitz, you're like, no, I'm not doing this again. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of quarterbacks out there. Blaine Gabbert's hair is looking great as at last check. Blaine Gabbert's going to the Super Bowl, John.
Did you see his Instagram?
No.
They were walking out to the NFC Championship game. He Instagrammed. It's a picture of him and Tom, like just the two quarterbacks walking down the hallway. And the comment was, I'm pretty sure, was gangsters move in silence or killers move in silence or something. I saw someone take the picture, quote it, be like, I want the amount of self-confidence this guy has to honestly tweet this with a straight face.
There it is. Look at it. But is that a Raider logo behind them?
That picture could have been from the Raider game, right? But he Instagrammed this a couple days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago. Gangsters move in silence.
Do you think Blaine Gabbert, his status in the league, is okay to Instagram that?
Well, Torrey Smith posted MF Super Bowl Blaine, and then Maurice Jones-Drew posted a picture of a dog. You see there the little emoji.
Yeah.
Let me go through these comments here and see.
Who's Blair Wheeler?
Guy that where do you see that? Oh, golf swings. The guy that I watch on Instagram.
Does he have good swings? Should I follow
a golf club? So let me see who else liked this post here. I guess I could.
I bet Tom, some of his teammates.
JF3 comments. John Franklin III.
Does feel like a lot of people like Blaine.
Marcus Golden.
Pretty good little pass rusher. People forget Maurice Jones-Drew, once upon a time when we had a radio show, was a weekly guest on our radio show. His career was over. I think he ended up getting cut like week 5. The team was so terrible, it just stopped. I don't even think he made it to October, did he?
Remember they had that. What was that fumble? Remember that play?
Oh, he had a fumble kick that went to another guy or something.
It was kind of like a butt fumble situation. Remember, it was like funny.
Yeah. Did he make it more than like a quarter of the season on the show?
No, we just stopped having a guest.
Yeah, it went fast.
But
do you remember in the preseason he had like a 90-yard run? Everyone went the wrong way and he just took off. And we're like, God, I think this guest MJD could have a bounce back.
What did you say on
year.
the postgame show that day?
I said, MJD. I mean, could we get to a grand? We got 1,000. We got 1,000 yards in us. Seven touchdowns. No, we didn't.
Eric said, where is the super chat option? Educate us. What is super chat on YouTube? Is there something we're not doing that we should be doing? Does that let you like post the chat into the video?
Do you think Mariota has any value? Who has more value this offseason? Mariota, $10 million. Jimmy, 27. God, that's a lot.
Well, I think the potential for a Belichick acquisition gives you a little more value on Jimmy. If I told you right now, breaking news, I'm not saying this, Jimmy Garoppolo got traded to the Patriots, what would you think he got traded for?
I could see like a special teams player and a 5th. I could see just like straight up for a 4th. Belichick likes us doing random shit. Like, I'll give you a 6th and a corner.
So a 4th. That would not surprise you. You're right,
yeah,
and a nickel corner.
Yeah.
What if I told you Marcus Mariota just got traded?
Yeah, 4th. He's so cheap.
Tim. Does it go up to 12 this year? Is it 10?
No, I think it was like 7.5 last year. It's not fully guaranteed, but if you keep him, it's 10. If Marcus Mariota is just a starting quarterback on like a 8-9 win team, and you get a $10 million starting quarterback, it's incredible value.
Yeah, I mean that's what the deal with Alex.
And who would you rather?
Or Gabbert? What was Gabbert? Man, he was making less than that.
Yeah, it was. Alex was making like 15. It's part of the reason like the Chiefs never had, like people always talk shit about him with the Chiefs. he really wasn't that. He never got close to like, he was always half as much as the top guy. So they'd go, yeah, he's like a borderline top 10 guy in the league, but we're paying him like a bottom 15 guy in the league, and we can pay other guys. That's why our team, they were winning 10, 11 games every year because their team was balanced. If Alex had been making the top money every year, it would have been a disaster, but they never were. They actually played it pretty perfectly. They got lucky. Alex was good enough to make it to the playoffs, never demanded that much money, and they could use him to get to football Jesus. Because sometimes I think, like, is Mahomes a little overrated? I think that, I mean, I honestly have these thoughts because of the hype.
It's all
I
worth
feel this way about
investigating.
Trevor Lawrence.
Ease.com, promo code HAM.
And then you can just sit back if you just watch like a half of a Chiefs game when they're on, and you're like, how did I ever think that? This guy is so good.
I know. Apparently, Super Chat is where we make money. Super Chat is money for y'all. It's a donation chat. We donate, and it puts our chats at the top of the highlight. So you guys donate money, and it gets you guys at the top of the list. It's true. I mean, we make money on the videos we post. A live stream doesn't necessarily pay for itself with ads the way posted videos do. But our hope is that you subscribe to this channel. If maybe you could all subscribe to this channel right now as you're watching this. We would appreciate that. And then watch, then you watch the other videos, and the next thing you know, Middlecoff's driving a Porsche.
Should we do some money chats?
I mean, we're open to whatever. Better to make money than not make money. Speaking of which, I was just going to pull something up here, but not related to making money on chats. I just wanted to show you guys something. So
I've always felt weird taking people's money.
Just for talking to us?
Yeah.
I know.
I haven't had to do that yet. But not opposed to it.
I mean, if you told me we'd make $8 from it, I would say, fuck it. If you told me we were making, $8,000, I'd say,
you guys need to enable the super chat sometimes. Well, maybe we'll look into that.
30% of a super chat. Well, they take 40% of a video, so.
Yeah, everyone's taking a percentage,
I mean, they can have their 30%. I appreciate the product.
I mean,
do you know how much
ask every businessman in New York for like 40 years what John Gotti was taking. It's just cost of doing business.
Monday night.
That Jeff Bezos? Have you heard of the thing that they do with their deliveries? They no longer they're not the people delivering. They pay people to create delivery services, and then so when you get an Amazon delivery to your house, it's through a third party.
Yeah, it's a guy in a Corolla.
Yeah, it's through a third party.
I know. Rarely is it an Amazon van. Third party. Well, yeah, I mean, I knew that just because I could tell they weren't Amazon employees.
Think how crazy that is. So whoever runs that individual Amazon delivery pays for workman's comp, pays for insurance for his drivers, and if they get into a wreck or whatever, like no issue with Jeff Bezos. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible business model, and they can't get in trouble for being a monopoly on it. Yet they're still profiting off it. Yet it's just he's got a good thing going, man. He's got a good thing going. Wall Street bets getting shut down. Thoughts?
Soft.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the market just let people just go at it, see who wins.
That's what they've been doing for years.
I don't know. I'm broke. LOL. Me too.
Hold on. What was I looking for? Oh, I know what I was going to do. Just, in the interest of go see our guy, man. Go see our guy at Pink Onion Pizza. And get yourself a ham. Somebody said, shut up and take our money. Because here's the deal, John. Matt at Pink Onion Pizza. I want to show you something. Check this out. So you can get the ham pod. But the question for Matt at Pink Onion Pizza is going to be, wrong one. The question for Matt at Pink Onion Pizza is going to be, now look, upper, right-hand corner over my head. That's the ham pod, right?
Yeah.
See that there?
Yeah.
Sausage, pepperoni, jalapenos, created by the Haberman and Milkoff Podcast. Check them out. Now look in the lower left-hand corner. You see what's down there?
Bruce Bochy?
No, that's under the Jimmy G.
The Jimmy G, yeah.
So how quickly does he pivot to the Matthew Stafford? That's got to be Detroit style. You know, the Detroit style pan kind of that's got it's like in a pan with like a little thicker crust on the side.
Pizza actually sounds pretty incredible.
He does everything very well. He's not even paying for this because he's just pays us with he put our name on a menu.
The offensive line is a serious problem. Truth. Get Deshaun then. Not happening.
By the way, I think when the Niners drafted 12, I saw somebody say this earlier, Niners should take a tackle. I think you'll be on the third offensive tackle of the draft by number 12.
Are you two actually Niners fans? Haberman's a Raider fan.
Good call.
Well, I said realistic. Do I spit on the pizza? Middlecoff.
That's a joke.
Middlecoff loves white cheddar popcorn. I do like white cheddar popcorn. I haven't had it in a while. Stafford's wife is like a Capitol riot supporter. Matt Stafford. That's pretty mean.
Jimmy G pizza comes with a side of strippers. That story does not even get discussed anymore and was insane, John.
Which one?
Jimmy went on a date
yeah.
with a porn actress. Like a date. Like what? I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Not the first or the last person in pro sports to do that. Was public. Was when he was new to the Niners.
Yeah, it was just if you were in the locker room, you'd probably be like, what?
Yeah. I think her daughter does porn as well, so she was an older porn model, right? Remember?
I did not know that detail.
Stat Padford. Rather get Dak or Stafford.
That's actually funny. Stat Padford. It
is a pretty good one. It's a Rob Parker-ism. I give him credit on that one. I'd probably rather have Dak, but Dak's so much more expensive.
Wait, you'd rather have Dak the player than Stafford the player?
Well, if I could get Dak at 26 years old for the same price, yeah.
Who do you think is a better quarterback?
I mean, I'd probably take, if all things are equal in a vacuum, I'd probably lean Stafford.
I would lean Stafford.
I actually kind of like Dak. I think he'd be really good with Kyle.
Maybe you could acquire him. The line
free agent.
You know who played quarterback for the Cowboys this year?
Ben DiNucci.
And if you scouted Ben DiNucci, you know who else you scouted? You scouted Trey Lance because Ben DiNucci and Trey Lance played each other in the FCS National Championship. Ben DiNucci actually had a more
Jimmy G is a good-looking dude and a multimillionaire. All you can pull is a skank. I wouldn't even drop a 20 on it at a local strip club. Listen, some people have their own taste, right? Some people like pepperoni pizza, others like Hawaiian. Some people like veggie sandwiches, some people like turkey sandwiches, some people like roast beef. We don't all like the same thing. That's the great part about once you get off Twitter and you realize life, a lot of people think differently than each other. It's okay. And most of my life growing up, it was okay to have
it's the way baseball used to be.
Yeah.
And it was more fun that way. When people just handed out $125 million to guys who had 18
I think
wins.
They got fat and happy in that. They're like, wait, we just don't get free money anymore? No, actually you don't. Because
the players, but I'm just saying now all of baseball, every front office is built the same way.
Yeah, it's gone the opposite.
So there's no GM who's like...
See, I'd argue that was fun, kinda, but if your team was signing the wrong guys, it sucked.
That sucked. Yeah.
Remember the Giants signed a lot of shitty guys in the 2000s, when I was
I mean the Zito contract was bad until he.
How about the dude, the center fielder from
Aaron
the White
Rowan?
Sox? Yeah.
But you know what's funny about big contracts? How much do you think Aaron Rowan got paid?
Yeah, it was like $60 million. That was a lot of money back then. If you get any player on a weekly interview like McAfee and Rodgers, who you taking?
So a couple names come to mind. Like Richard Sherman comes to mind. He did the thing with what's his name? Collinsworth.
Did Jen stop? God, you're just filling up our shit here, did Jen? Yeah, I mean, I think the key to McAfee's success is he just chose one of the most famous athletes in the world. He got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, part of it, and Aaron's good. It's good with him, but I think you just swing for you would just take, I don't know, Mahomes,
LeBron
Brady.
James. I would start there. Yeah. Call me crazy. I'd start with LeBron.
See, I don't know if I would.
I'm just trying to get views, John.
It would work, yeah. The thing that makes I think Aaron unique to Pat is that you don't hear him talk that often, right? Like forever Brady, maybe Brady wouldn't be as good because for 20 years he spoke every Tuesday. Remember Roethlisberger did that thing for like 15 years in Pittsburgh. This was the first year he didn't.
He was probably doing 25s.
I feel like I don't hear Mahomes, like that many things that Mahomes say go viral. Now maybe he'd be not a great interview consistently.
Who would we want? Oh, Shanahan. We interviewed Kyle not long ago on radio, remember? And he was very good.
Yeah, I think Kyle would be good. I don't think you can go wrong with a huge coach.
Yeah, McVay.
Yeah. I'd love to talk with McVay.
Saban
actually can be pretty good.
I'm being serious, yeah.
No, you know how big we'd be in the South? I just fucking moved to Louisiana or Florida, and we just have multimillionaires, live like kings.
Welcome to our mansions.
Meta World Peace. Who is the worst case scenario at quarterback next year?
A
Mullins?
hurt player. No, a hurt player. A hurt Jimmy, a hurt Stafford, a hurt rookie, a hurt player.
You think Brandon Ayuk is going to have a breakout year if we trade for Matt Stafford?
I think he already had a breakout year.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Yeah. He's only going to keep getting better. But here's the thing. This is part of the reason. Can I give you a real take here? Part of the reason they need a better quarterback is I do, and I said this during the year. You remember we had this conversation. I'm a little concerned the degree to which Kyle has to hand the ball off, not just to running backs, that's what happens with them, but to Brandon Ayuk and to Deebo Samuel, all these hits that happen like within a 5-yard margin of the line of scrimmage because they cannot throw the football consistently down the field. Well, who's down the field? Less defenders are down the field. You're in one-on-one, maybe there's a safety. You might get hit going over the middle, whatever. But Deebo Samuel, John, I can't have him taking these like 8 hits a game because he's running down the alley on a wide receiver screen or he's coming around the edge on an end around and there's 8 guys trying to twist his ankle and take his head off. Like I'm seriously, I get concerned with how many hits the Niners playmakers take because they have to manufacture so many plays around the line of scrimmage. That does concern me long term. And we've seen it now. Deebo, he gets banged up.
Yeah.
Their running backs get worn down. I don't think it's an accident.
Yeah, I mean, they just demand physicality. Like Kyle likes those type players, and with that comes injuries. They just got to find a way to.
But I just want to reduce. If you can get the ball down the field a little more, you can reduce the number of plays they have to make in that part of the field.
Yeah,
that's an actual take I have about why a better quarterback. One of the reasons a better quarterback is important for them.
Doesn't seem to happen to the Rams
fan base, huh?
Well, because he says it doesn't seem to happen to the Rams because the Rams don't really ask like Robert Woods. Well, Robert Woods doesn't play like Deebo Samuel. Like he's not looking to like, oh shit, there's a nickel corner, I'm gonna run his ass over. Robert Woods is like, hey Sean McVay, I'm gonna come meet you on the sideline. George Kittle's like, oh, there's 7 DBs, let's go fucking fight them. George is like, oh, there's 3 linebackers, let's see if I can break all 3 tackles. And you're like, oh my god, George, what are you doing? Which is, I think, endearing, right? It's what people like about players. It's just, but Frank Gore plays the complete opposite, and he's a legend because, like, God, he's 77 years old, and he's still getting a 1-year contract because he never takes a hit. So there's, like, this balance of, yeah, George, I get it. Like, you can basically every safety in the league, you could probably run over. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't even know if there's that many Cam Chancellors in the league. But I'd rather have you just go to the side of them and maybe hit the ground when you get 6 of them on your back, like, you know, I'm watching Animal Planet, you know, when the lions take down a water buffalo and they're all jump on his back. That sometimes looks like a George Kittle tackle. And I think Deebo a little too. I watch Stephon Diggs, like he hits the ground a lot. Keenan hits the ground a lot. Tyreek, you notice Tyreek? Now these guys aren't physical players in this, you know, like like George or even Deebo, but I do think they just use common sense sometimes. Like it's how you continue. I think Kelsey's a good example. Like Kelsey balances a physical play. Like if you watch him, he'll stiff arm a guy or do it. But I never feel like, yeah, he's he's getting a little overzealous here on trying to run through 4 guys. Like, he'll just hit the ground. You know why? Because his most important value to the Chiefs, playing every game, playing every snap. And then, boom, you're like, God, is that 4 straight years, 100 catches?
Yeah.
Now, the George injury this year, Jimmy fault, right?
And the second one was just
kind of a freak deal.
Yeah. But I'm going to laugh if the Niners sign Stafford, he gets hurt, he's fragile. I will not laugh.
Yeah, me neither.
I'll be worn out. But it's a real concern. Like, that's not a fake concern.
No.
I am not opposed to drafting a quarterback in the first. Actually, I'm pro drafting a quarterback in the first round.
And getting Stafford?
No, just getting a quarterback in the first round.
Oh, I am too. But I saw Chris Ballard. I saw Chris Ballard. You can't just draft a quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, and loving a quarterback. I mean, once upon a time, Ryan Pace loved Trubisky. Right? The Chiefs were head over heels for Mahomes. Like, just because you love a guy doesn't always mean it's going to work. I think the Rams love Goff, and they liked him, and now they don't. And then there's like the Dak that felt a little bit like a flyer, and it turned out he was good. Russell they liked him, but they also liked him, but they knew his value was in the 3rd round. There's a balance to the draft of, you know, the Niners, when it comes to quarterbacks, they've really only done it once, and it didn't go well, right? At least I know, like, with D linemen, with linebackers, with tight ends, like I know they can find good players at other positions. The quarterback thing is, I mean, it's just hard to begin with, 1. And 2, they've drafted 1 quarterback, and for whatever reason, because when you watch him, it looks like he's a better player than Mullins, but Kyle made the guy a 3rd-string quarterback by, like, year 2.
Yeah. He's not a starter. That's clear.
No. We're not even a backup. He's only a backup by injury.
Yeah. Somebody just said, smash that like button. Yeah. Smash that like button. Like, everybody, just right now. Just like it. Bam, 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 bam. Just start liking. Dante Pettis became adverse to any kind of contact. He got smashed. Yeah, I mean, he got smashed on the last play he played. Dante Pettis was a bad pick, and we could have told you it was a bad pick. I didn't like the pick when they made it. I didn't understand it. And then the thing he did best was return kicks, and he didn't do it. Punts. So, whatever.
If the Texans said Bosa, 12, and a 2023 first for Watson, do you say no?
So, I give him Bosa and 2 ones?
Yeah.
God, I don't love that.
I'd probably say no.
Because Bosa's more valuable than a 1 because he's a 1 that you nailed.
Is hurt.
What
about drafting Mac Jones? I feel like Mac Jones is like in the Senior Bowl. Everyone likes him. Wins the national championship. I'll bet right now he's a Senior Bowl MVP. And then they're like, Mac Jones, he's so smart and he's a good-looking guy. And Saban loves him and his stats. There's going to be a lot of, like, to me, Mac Jones is going to fly by Kyle Trask. That's my prediction right now, just in terms of the buzz and the way people are talking about him.
I agree with that prediction. I think I like him more than Kyle Trask.
Just going to like him. I do too.
But I don't love Kyle Trask.
What if I told you Kyle Shanahan drafted Mac Jones number 12 overall?
Well, no, I would hate that. Now, if you took him in the 2nd round, okay, whatever. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no. Too risky. He might be a good player, but the risk there is huge. I mean, he played on an all-star team. He's good. Throws a nice deep ball. Not Bosa. He's the heart of the defense.
Jamie Newman. Did Newman start the season at Georgia and then leave, or did JT Daniels?
I'll be completely honest. I don't know who Jamie Newman is.
It's a transfer from Vandy. He went to Georgia, but then he didn't stay. Then he just left, I think.
Bosa has 2 knee injuries in 4 years. Those ones will be picked 25 or later with Watson's Niners or contenders immediately. Tend to agree. I'd think about that one.
No, I mean, it
makes you. I'd call a meeting.
We'd need a couple days to discuss.
If Trent Williams wants more than $22 million, should you let him walk? Yeah, I'm not giving Trent Williams $22 million.
That's the other problem is you got to protect Stafford.
Is Trent Williams a lock to be on the team next year?
Wait, Jamie Newman transferred to Wake from where? From Georgia? He went from Vandy to Georgia to Wake?
I don't even know who Jamie. I've never heard of him.
Or was he Wake and I'm confusing him with Vandy because their colors are the same?
They say Newman is impressive at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I watched
more
him.
so than Mac. Never played
Jamie
a snap
Newman was
at
at
Georgia.
Wake. Who am I thinking of? Oh, it's the right guy. Okay. So he was at Wake, not Vandy. Sorry.
He's was at Georgia. JT Daniels got there, then he left.
Opted out of the season, yeah.
How long have we been on for? 64 minutes?
Solid. This is a good performance, everybody. You guys have hung in. It's been a solid audience the entire way. We should do this more. Plus, isn't it nice to your credit, I said, should we stream this on Twitter? And you said no. And which asshole gave us a thumbs down?
Yeah.
How dare you? I'll choose to focus on the thumbs down and not the thumbs ups. I can look at comments this way too. Well,
I'm out of juice.
thanks everybody.
Appreciate you.
Podcast. I didn't think I put it in the description, but podcast can be found. Subscribe to our channel. Like the video. Thank you for your comments. We'll consider your super button. And
Do a couple of these a week.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe do this. Is super chat separate from this chat, or is it just
no super
also
chat? I
going
think
on?
is just something you add to the video you do.
Oh,
We'll do some Googling.
I'll do some super chatting.
SF is Grant Cohn logging into this live chat under different usernames with his Bosa trade comments? That's a good comment.
Okay.
This is cool. Reminds me of you doing your radio show back in the day. Doesn't remind me of that
Me either.
because we didn't
Way
take a
cooler.
commercial break, didn't have to do a tease, and thoroughly
Yeah,
enjoyed ourselves.
didn't have like the Astros beat writer on.
Hey man, Jeff Blum has a lot of good takes. Jeff Blum's a good baseball man.
Yeah, he
Blummer.
actually was a good guest.
I don't know. You just picked Astros, so I went with that. All right. It's been real. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.